Thing about being a quarterback is if you don't play, you don't take a hit because you don't take a hit in practice.
So those guys come at you and you're like, hey, that kind of hurts.
You're like, it kind of feels good. It's been a while. Last year was my 6th season of college football, my first time starting all 12 games in a season. And yeah, just, the work I've put in throughout my college career and to be able to have that success last year, it's kind of like, why change, why restart when I put myself in this position? And, a lot of that's attributed to the coaching staff and my teammates and everyone around me. So it didn't make sense to, go anywhere else and restart.
You have the 3 years at Minnesota. Do you have any really funny PJ Fleck stories? Because that guy's pretty crazy.
When we would win, we'd all be standing in the locker room and we'd be waiting for him after his post-game interview to run in. And we'd all be standing there right by the entrance. Everybody's in a circle, clapping, waiting for him to run in. He wouldn't be there yet, so we'd all wait for a second. And somebody would finally give us a signal that he's coming. And he would run and just like jump like he's a rock star or something on top of us. And we'd like surf him in the air. But I don't know how it started. Somebody just started taking his shoes off. So he'd be up there and we're like ripping his shoes off or ripping his clothes off or something. And there'd be away games where the ceilings are lower and we'd be like throwing him into the ceiling a little bit and he'd come down and just look like a mess and be like, all right, good win, let's go. And it's a lot of fun. But that's just how he is. Like,
That's awesome.
Yeah, very much a player's coach. And like I said, gets the best out of us all the time.
What do you think the biggest challenge during those 3 years was for you? It had to be a lot of fun, great culture, but it can't all be easy when you're used to being the guy all the time and then you're sitting on the bench a lot for 3 years.
Yeah, I was talking to some of our quarterbacks on the team this year, and I think trying to compete for a backup job is maybe one of the hardest things to do in all of sports because, you're preparing like you're going to go out to practice, get a bunch of reps, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get, like this year, in spring ball, I'd pretty much get 50% of the reps, and then we have 3 other quarterbacks that are splitting the next 50% of the reps. So you have shorter reps trying to, figure out and show yourself on film, but you're doing it with limited reps, and it's harder, and it makes you feel like everything means a little bit more, and you can't play as free. And it's a little bit more stressful, when you're out there trying to compete for the starting job, it's like, just go for it. But when you're competing for the backup job, it's a little bit more nervous. You don't feel like you can make mistakes, so you play a little bit more tight. And that's kind of what I experienced at Minnesota was just, not playing as well as I could, maybe because it was a little more stress and nervous and feeling like I had to be perfect all the time instead of just going out there and playing. But then I also battled some injuries. My second year, I tore my labrum in my throwing shoulder and was out for 9 months and came back and really liked all my teammates and everybody there. Loved the coaches, loved what we were doing with the program, but just got moved on the depth chart and kind of struggled with, thinking, am I a good quarterback still? Like, wasn't getting a lot of reps, wasn't getting a lot of opportunity, not really believing in myself as much as I probably should have, and kind of contemplating, do I just stay here and get into coaching, or do I try to keep playing football? And then I made that decision, I think I can still be a good quarterback. And decided to get in the portal and ended up being a really good decision for me.
I'm pretty sure if I'm right, your whole Power 4 career at Minnesota was throwing that one pass.
Yeah, it was. I handed the ball off, 10 times and threw one pass. Yeah.
Completed it though, 100% completion percentage.
Yeah, the other thing about being a quarterback is if you don't play, you don't take a hit because you don't take a hit in practice. So I didn't get hit in the game against Maryland when I was at Minnesota, I don't believe. So I think it was my last time getting hit was my senior year of high school until I got some snaps in that game against Western Illinois.
So those guys come at you and you're like, hey, that kind of hurts.
You're like, it kind of feels good. It's been a while. Yeah.
Wake up call. You're like, all right, back playing football again.
Yeah, playing football again.
Any advice you could give to a person, you were in those shoes, who's sitting there thinking they're in the middle of their journey or doing anything and they're about to give up? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I would just say, continue to push, every day. Not everything's going to go your way. There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be bumps in the road, but just continue to take steps forward. If you still love the game, there's no reason to give up. There's time in college football. You know, you can redshirt, you have 5 years to get better and continue to play. And I've told people, like, I didn't start my first football game until my 5th year of college football. You know, just don't give up, continue to work hard every day. And if you do, you're going to end up having success, whether that's on the field or building lifetime relationships. You know, not everything is about going out there and throwing for 4,000 yards or having 1,000 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns. Like, a lot of the time, it's going to be the relationships you build, and, you know, what you've learned from football to continue in your life and be successful off the field.